Hi, I'm Keisha Bisram,
I'm Emily Nicole Cameron.
and this is the Every Shade Podcast, Season 3. Hello. Oh, hi.
How's it going? Is my face really big?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Do you have your mic in?
No, not
No.
yet.
Do you want to try putting your mic in? Oh, wait. I have you on mute. That's why.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
What is wrong with me? Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Thank goodness.
I'm a straight up asshole.
No, that's all right. I'm like, that's weird because my microphone's not muted.
Oh my
I
god.
am trying to I got some film noir thing going on here. All right.
Well, I have like all my lights on, so like just to brighten up everything.
You know what?
Ring light.
I also have so much. I don't have one. There's so much stuff being stored back here that I'm trying to hide it so that you don't see everything that's being stored.
Oh, now you got up. We're seeing everything.
Let me see.
Wait, did you say you had your mic in or not?
No.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's
Not
test
yet.
that. Yeah. Whenever you're ready. Because what I want to do is I want to record us on our mics for 2 minutes or so.
Sure.
Hop off Zoom, and then I'm gonna listen back to the recording.
That's a little better, right?
Yeah, it's better.
I
But yeah, I want to listen back to how we sound, and then we can move forward.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hop back on the link.
It's a little dark in here.
We'll get you a ring light, girl.
Really? All right. So I don't know how to use this thing. Oh my gosh, it's like a microphone.
I know. Well, when I ordered it on Amazon, I thought it was going to be a lot smaller, but it's actually
Those are awesome. Yeah, obviously I haven't opened mine yet. So, all right. Looks pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, it just assemble. Just assemble.
Oh, this is awesome.
I thought it was gonna be a tiny little microphone or something. It looked a lot smaller on Amazon. And then when I opened it up, I was like, oh shit, this is a stage mic.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good quality for I don't know, it's $15 or something.
Oh, that is pretty good. Do I have to do anything or
No, but you do sound a little different.
I do already?
Oh wow, yeah, that amplifies a lot.
Wow, okay.
And it's it has to be here.
Here.
You
have a stand? What do you have yours on?
Yeah, it's a stand. It comes with a stand.
Oh.
Put it there, yeah.
So it does. Oh, that's so cute. All right. Sorry, I'm super excited.
I had the same reaction.
And it comes with the. I don't know that we need those, but
I don't think we need that. I think because it's
I was wondering what this was. I was like, oh, it looks like it can be used for an actual stage.
I feel like one of those podcast people you see on TikTok.
Yeah.
And they're always talking about how
a radio show
women are or how shitty men are.
Yeah.
And how crappy our society is. All that stuff.
See, I don't really have a thing to put it on. My desk is super low, so I've had to prop up everything. Let's see. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'll get settled so you can be comfortable.
Is that close enough if I speak there?
I can hear you very clearly. It's very nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Can you bring it a little
good.
closer at all or no? I mean, I don't think you
I mean,
can.
I can just hold it.
I mean, I want you to be comfortable. I don't want you to hold it the whole time.
Yeah. Let me see. I just
If not, it's totally okay. I just wanna hear it.
I'm trying to just adjust the
I guess you can
stand,
adjust the
so
stand, like stand up
looks
a little
like you
bit.
can.
Oh, I don't know how
Oh, how's ooh.
I know the stand is not really the best.
Oh, it's just an awkward I just have nothing to prop it on right now. Let's see. Is
Hold on, place it where you had it placed before.
it's just on the desk.
I can hear all the movement.
Sorry.
It's like I can't
Does
see
that
what you're doing. I'm just hearing like something happening.
sorry. Does that work? Does that work at all?
All right, let it go. Okay, talk like normal. Say something. I don't know. I mean, you don't
Test it.
you don't
Test
have
it.
to bend over.
Oh,
Like,
okay, yeah,
yeah, like sit up straight and like,
yeah. So like if I'm just talking to you, does that sound better?
yeah, that sounds really good. Wow,
Okay.
this is nice.
Okay.
So legit.
I can't hear any difference, so
I can hear it a little bit.
you
It's
can.
like
Okay.
it's like it
Hang on.
sounds it just sounds like more clear, I guess,
Oh, okay. All
which
right.
is
Let's see.
what I want. I guess the only note I will have is just don't touch it when we're talking because to pick up
I'm gonna
sound.
try to prop it up a little bit. I need something. Oh, hang on. I have an idea. Are we being recorded?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. This is all
putting this
great
in there.
material. I may or may not use this. This is kind of funny.
All right. Let's see. Um, how's that? Is that any better?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So let's hop off. Um, and let me listen to playback. It's gonna take a little time for it to load. So
Okay.
give me like 5 minutes.
Sure.
All right,
Okay.
all right, bye. Where did you go, my love? Do 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 do. Where did you go? I wanna know. Na na na. Na 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 na. Where did you go? Where did you go? Oh, 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 hey, oh. Where did you go? Oh, there you are.
All right.
And we're
So it
back.
sounded good.
Yeah, it sounded good. Oh.
Maybe that would be better. Blurry background, so you can see all my crap back there. I was also just wondering if there was a way to,
You
um
can like download backgrounds, or I think Zoom offers backgrounds, or maybe not. Maybe I'm
oh,
lying about that. I don't
no,
know.
they do.
Yeah.
Like, I can be in San
Oh,
Francisco.
you're in the West Coast
Ah.
with
I'm here. Little did you know.
me.
I could be on the
Oh.
moon. Oh my gosh, I look like I'm in that movie. Um,
But I like that one.
alright. Oh, what am I doing? You liked which one?
The space one. There's
The
space
space one?
one.
I did too. I like the colors of that, but
Oh, I like it. It was funny. It
I
was
go with it.
moving.
Um, does it look weird?
It doesn't. It's just funny looking because it looks like you're just like somewhere random. Like, oh,
I'm
I kinda like
I'm
it.
Sandra Bullock in Gravity. This is the whole movie. Um,
Yes. Good movie, by the
alright.
way, with a female lead, which is exactly what we're talking about. Well, not exactly, but similar to what we're talking about in this episode. I really like that movie,
Mhm.
actually. I feel like a lot of people made fun of it, but I kinda liked it.
Gravity?
Yeah.
Oh,
I would
yeah, it
not
wasn't my
watch it again,
favorite.
though.
Yeah, it's not really the the one you rewatch over and over.
No. I don't think I imagine, like, as a filmmaker and especially as an actress, because she's acting by herself most of the film.
Yeah.
Imagine that must have been an interesting challenge, but I also would not want to watch it again because I love her, but like what, 2 hours of just watching her just floating.
Yeah, exactly. Like, like, take so much of that.
Interesting concept.
But
All right. Well, before we get started, I am going to get my wine.
sounds good.
I was gonna actually be creative and make a cocktail for this podcast episode, but I forgot ingredients. So I ended up getting a $6 canned wine. Ooh,
Oh,
from Whole Foods.
good. They should sponsor this.
I Lubanzi, proudly made in South Africa. Um, I normally never drink canned or boxed wine, but because I live alone, I can't just open bottles of wine all
Bottles,
the time
yeah.
on my own because that's insane. So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a little ASMR here.
I did not hear that at all.
I wonder why. I'm trying to put it up to the mic so I can hear it. Maybe in the recording you can hear it. Cheers.
Cheers. I'm on my water kick still, so oh, you can't even see it. This
Well,
is a bottle of water.
okay. Well, cheers to the water.
Yes.
Just
I
disappears
might have to take
off
this background
screen.
off.
Eh. All right. Well, technically, this is episode one. I know we did
Mhm.
episode one last year, but it was kind of all over the place, that one. And we didn't really have like a goal for it. Although, I mean, this goal that we have for like this season was really difficult to implement, I guess I'll say. Um, obviously, you and I have tried to like find movies and shows that are directed and written by women, which do exist, but we don't have all of the streaming platforms. And I think the streaming platforms that uh, we were looking on was either HBO Max, Netflix, Apple TV, which was like the worst one, and Disney.
Disney Plus.
And there were movies, but there wasn't much of a selection. Um, and the whole goal of this season was to like just uh review movies written and directed by women, and not just white women, but like women of color too, which was also difficult.
Mhm.
Because even when
Yeah.
we were finding shows and movies, when it was directed by a woman or written by a woman, it was like a white woman, which is fine. Like I support that. I want to watch it too, but like that was it, you know. So anyways, and of course there's other shows like like Mindy Kaling shows and stuff like that. But still, I wanted to like get like a good hefty list, and we didn't really have that long of a list. So
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
we'll, we'll slowly start and find good shows and movies along the way. I know there's like a lot out there, but there's not. I think when we were doing research on those streaming platforms. Oh no, we didn't do HBO Max. I lied. We did Apple, Netflix, and Disney. Is that it?
I think you did look at HBO Max.
Yeah, because I feel like it. Oh, you know why? No, HBO Max does have a lot of films and shows written and directed by women, but I was supposed to share the password with you, and I forgot to. Or we did.
Oh, that's right. I wasn't able to log in, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, even still, though, it was I think, I was thinking about this after we were, on Zoom last or, trying to figure out what we were gonna do for the season, and then I was thinking about it afterwards, and, you know, we did talk about this while we were searching, but how the industry is changing, like, I'm not necessarily, I'm not like, "This is an injustice," or anything like that, but, um I think what was discouraging, and I was thinking about it even afterwards, 'cause I'm like, it was so discouraging because we were actively looking for, for shows and films, and it's one thing for it not to just kind of come up and be in your face, but when you're actively looking for, work that has been created by women, and you're just hitting a wall, hitting a wall, hitting a wall, even stories that you would think would be directed by a woman, ones with strong female leads or just female focused stories, and they're not, that's even more discouraging, in my opinion, but it is changing. So I'm hopeful that over the next few months or so that we can keep looking and find some more to add to the list.
Yeah, and I think because I had a thought while watching Captain Marvel, so that was the movie that we chose to watch for this first episode. Just like a fun movie, just to start off the season. Um, I'm gonna be really honest with you. I didn't finish it.
Neither did I. I was like, "Oh my god." I was getting so nervous when you were talking because 'cause I'm like, "She's gonna talk about the ending," and I didn't even I didn't even finish
I
it.
could not, for the life of me, finish it. As soon as it started,
Mhm,
I was bored out of my mind. I was on TikTok,
mhm.
and then I took a nap.
Yep.
And I mean, my problem is too, I used to be a huge fan of like Marvel, DC films, and then at some point, I just fell off the wagon. I couldn't really stay focused on it anymore. But what's interesting with Captain Marvel, which what I the reason why I didn't like it so much, I like the actress. I really liked her. Like I liked her as Captain Marvel. I thought I liked her a lot. I just the movie and a lot of the messaging in the very first half that I did watch. Maybe it took a pivot afterwards. I don't know, but I guess I'll never know. Um, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a director actress, Megan. I think I've spoken about her to you. Um,
Mhm.
and we're pitching um, my short series to get funding, and our issue with pitching was like everything that we're seeing and we could talk about this because we actually discovered this when we were looking at some films on Apple TV. A lot of like the films, I don't know about series, but I guess films, but in the US that's written or directed by a woman, it's always politically driven or it's always about empowering women.
Yeah.
And it's like, first of all, putting a woman in the director role or in the writer's role or in a lead role is already empowering itself. Like, I don't know why we need to talk about female empowerment all the damn time. Like, if it's relevant to the story, then yes. But if it's like not relevant, like you really need to. And I felt like when watching Captain Marvel, there was just so much of that messaging of like this really cool, dope woman, like, being very, I mean, obviously she's a superhero, so I guess, that makes sense. But it was already like a lot of that messaging immediately that I was just like trying to find out who she is and her identity and being really cool and hopping on a motorbike and like wearing, oh my God, like it was just
Yeah.
like I see that happening all the time. And it's like, it's exhausting. And I mean, you brought up that point too when we were doing research with Apple TV. Um, you mentioned a lot of the films that we kept coming across written by a woman or directed by a woman. It was always like either about death or
Yes. It was always something very depressing like that. Or there was, as you were talking, the one that came into my head was the documentary. There was a documentary, I wanna say it was on Apple TV, but I don't know for sure, and I think it was just called Women, actually, and it was about injustices to women around the world, and
yes.
that was, like, the one that and I'm like, "This isn't the only thing that we can tell stories about. We know what our injustices are," and not to discredit that work at all, it's just, it's I know exactly what you mean, and even watching the Captain Marvel film, I felt that way actually from the very beginning as well. Um, the fight, the fight scene that was Jude Law in the film, right?
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised to see him in this movie,
So beautiful.
um, but yeah, the even from the very beginning that, and then she overpowers him and
Sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
I'm like, he's so beautiful. He's so hot. I just
He is.
Anyway,
He
sorry.
definitely is, but I was surprised to see him in a I don't know, you're much more well-versed in these types of films than I am, so I don't know, I was like, "Is that Jude Law?" It is him, yes. Um, but, uh but anyway, so I agree with you, what you were saying there.
Yeah, and it's not like I don't mind those stories. I mean, we were saying that too, like, in that conversation that we had, which we should have recorded, because
Yeah.
that whole journey was interesting, but I don't mind it. Like, I don't mind, like, the female empowerment roles and the strong female. I don't mind it. Or, like, oh, there was that one movie with Elizabeth Moss on Apple TV, and that story was linked to assault, and it's like, Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
Like, a lot of these female characters are always, like, dealing with assault too. Like, it's either assault, death, some sort of injustice, and it's like, it's fine, but why don't I can we talk about something else?
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. I mean, and I think you and I both know this well because we've both worked on creative projects before. And I know one of the things I always try to do, especially having, studied directing, like, take on directing projects myself, like I always try to find projects that are different, that tell different stories because I never want to be pigeonholed into, well, you only kind of tell this type of story, or um you only do stories about women, or and that's I'm really proud of the fact that I haven't done that. But at the same time, and I'm sure you're the same way, when you're thinking about writing, even the project that we're sort of brainstorming right now, trying to adopt different perspectives. And I enjoy that part about, kind of having those conversations with you as we're working through and just having these initial brainstorming sessions about that. But um but it just seems, at least right now, there's so there's so few of those stories, that are, that women are allowed to tell. Um, I am hopeful that it's changing because I think there is so much in the film industry in general that is changing,
Mhm.
especially getting more women involved in the production side. But um, but still, like I said, I think it was just that we were we were actively searching for something, and that's probably why we kept hitting a wall
Yeah,
too. When you're really
yeah.
looking for it. But
I agree with you. I'm not saying any of this to be pessimistic, like, at all. I am hopeful that things are changing, that, like, there's still opportunities like that. And there are stories out there. Like, I think Mindy Kaling does a good job of, like, bringing a lot of the silliness and the ridiculousness to characters, and, like, um I'm trying to think, like, I'm thinking of, like, past movies. Like, see, the thing is, like, I always shows. I mean, another show I wanted to, like, put on our list was I Hate Susie, but that's on HBO Max. So I'm gonna have to give you the password so you can actually watch it. Um, but that's not even like an American piece. Like,
Mhm.
I've noticed that a lot of, like, American film and TV are always, like, geared towards like the political atmosphere, and, like, I guess, like, the female empowerment atmosphere, and it's like, no, I wanna see films that, like, we could, like, make fun of ourselves, or, like, just show the ridiculousness of things, and, like, not all women are empowered females, like, all the time, or not all women go through assault or, like, violence, like,
Right.
it's like there's, like, other things happening too. But, I mean, of course, like, um, there will be changes in the future, but yeah, watching Captain Marvel, I couldn't take it.
What was also interesting, I think when I looked it up, let me know if I'm incorrect here, but it looked like there were 3 different directors. One of them, were
There's
they
2.
2 women?
So
Oh,
technically,
2.
no, it was a man and a woman.
Oh, a man and a woman. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Which
So
is also interesting. Yeah, I was kind of trying to consider that as I was watching it for some reason. I think because I knew we were gonna be talking about it, but, um, yeah, personally, I think you might know this about me, Quiche, but, like, I can't get into those films anyway, and I really thought, I was like, "You know what? If I just sit down and, like, actually watch it," and this was a good reason for me to do that. It's like, maybe that will change my mind, but yeah, I agree with you. As soon as it started, it just like this alternative universe, and I mean, I just immediately get pulled out of films like that, and I know that there's a whole fan base behind Marvel, DC that just love, love, love everything about them, but, I've never been one of those people, so I actually thought I was really relieved actually when you texted me and was, sort of giving some of your opinions beforehand because I'm like, "All right, it wasn't just me and sort of my, um,
You
antagonistic view towards these types of films anyway." But, yeah, I agree with you. As soon as it started, it was very slow moving, and then, there were parts of it it was funny, there was a part where, um, I was trying to re I don't even remember what happened. I was trying to follow. I felt like some of it I couldn't quite follow, but anyway, there was a part where, um, I think she's back on Earth or sort of in our quote unquote normal world.
Mhm.
But and I actually thought the movie was over. It looked like it was sort of like it had this like little bit of a climax and then it was kind of coming down and resolving. And I was like, wow, that was a quick 2 hours. And I looked at the thing and it was like an hour and a half left. And I thought, oh, there's still a lot more to go. So I kept watching and then I felt like there was another moment where that happened as well. And I was like, okay, is this the end? And I kind of looked at me and I was like, nope, that's not the end either.
Only
So
5
it
minutes
kind of
have passed.
yeah. Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, yeah. It's only been 4 minutes and 30 seconds." But, it kind of felt like there were these mini stories kind of within the whole movie, and it just I don't know, for something maybe that's why it felt a little grueling to get through. I don't know.
No, I get it. I used to be huge on Marvel and DC films, like going to the theater all the time for it. Um, it stopped after Wonder Woman came out because when I saw Wonder Woman, I was like, wow, this is a really good film. Like it's really
Mhm.
good. And then after that, I don't know what I saw after that, and I was like, oh, like nothing's the same because it's just all repetitive movies. Like I can't even differentiate like the superhero films anymore because they're all the same at this point. Except for like,
Yeah.
Batman Begins and that whole era with Christian Bale, I love so much. And actually, the Joker was a good film too. Okay, I'm going off.
Yes,
I'm going off in a different direction. Sorry.
I agree with you that, but yes, go ahead.
Oh, did you see the Joker?
I did, yeah. Yeah, I actually watched it, I've seen it a couple times, and I watched it, a couple weeks ago, actually. I really
Oh,
Yeah, for the second time, that was my second time seeing it.
oh my
Um,
God,
I
that's
really enjoyed that as well. So, yeah, I mean, when I say and, even superhero films, though, it
yeah,
really depends because I remember being a kid and when, like, when Spider-Man came out, the one with Tobey Maguire, I loved that movie. And then it was just like I haven't seen any of the remakes. I'm not really interested in them, but to be honest with you, but I agree. Christian Knight, Christian Bale,
that's the name.
the other, the other
Yeah,
Batman,
that's what it is. Yeah.
Christian Bale in Dark Knight.
We're getting it all
Uh,
confused now. Yeah. I
I'm
think I
just
named
merging
one
it
of the
all
titles
into one.
incorrectly too, so don't feel bad.
I don't know that I'm
Like I think it's the
accurate.
Batman Begins, but I don't think that's
Um,
correct. I think it's like the Dark Knight, right?
Dark Knight and then Dark Knight Rises, right? I love those films too, and The Joker, I was not expecting to like it, but my brother had seen it, was like, "Oh, it's really good, you should see it." And I loved it. I thought it was so different, that sort of dark, gritty,
Yeah,
um, I loved it. So yeah, but there's something very different, I think, about those films than there is about
yeah.
some of these kind of Marvel, like I agree with you, this kind of like, super powerful, all uplifting. It's just I don't know.
I think it depends because like
Mhm.
it's either it's good when it's really like fun, and then it's good when it's like like Joker. Because I saw Thor in theaters last year, and it was just an all around fun film. Like it was just
Mhm.
super fun, and I enjoyed watching the film because there wasn't any like there was a bit of messaging in there too, but like not it wasn't heavy. It was just very light, like comic messaging. I mean, I think comic books just have that. They always have a message, but it's like it's not as heavy. It's just you're still being entertained. And I feel like when I watched Thor, I was just purely entertained, and I was like, this is nice. I can deal with this.
Mhm.
There's a little bit of sadness, there's a little bit of creepiness here and there, but it was like quick, and
Yeah.
that was it. And it's like, this is what I like. This is what I want. I don't need if I want to watch a film where I'm being like a message is being pushed down my throat, it's like it has to be relevant to the plot. Like I'm just trying to think. I mean, you know, I'm trying to think of a movie that I've watched recently that had heavy messaging, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like I
Mhm.
watch it for that, but if I'm watching like Captain Marvel, I'm like, and it immediately started with that whole like female empowerment like sort of theme. It's like she's already a superhero. We get it. Like she is empowering.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, not having it is difficult where I too didn't finish the film, but there didn't seem to be I made it most of the way through. I honestly think I have about 20 minutes left.
You
Um,
made it further than I did.
at
I
this
think I had about like 50 minutes left or something.
But there also didn't seem to be a whole lot of character development, and I was interested to see, like, initially because of that, right? And I agree with you, there was this, like, here she is, she's this, like, powerful, yes, she's a superhero, but I'm like, "Okay, but then what happens to her?" And then even the things that did happen to her, I'm like, I don't know that there was really enough to fulfill any sort of character development there. So I mean, like you said at the beginning of this, like unless there's some really sharp twist that I'm missing, I think that also makes it just fall really flat. It's gonna make any story fall flat.
Yeah. I looked at the ratings for Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel. Wait, is that the name of the movie? I'm like, wait,
Yeah, Captain Marvel.
all these names now. I'm like, wait, I am I saying it right? The ratings were pretty low, which
Oh,
was
were they?
yeah. I looked it up because I was like, did this movie? I know people really liked her, but I was like, was the movie even like good compared to what critics were saying? And I looked it up, and it was not that low, but it was like in the 60 percentile.
Yeah.
Um, but
Do you
yeah,
know when this movie came out offhand? What year it was?
2020, 2019, 2018.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
'Cause I think one of the Avengers films she was in, one of the Infinity War or I forgot which one the other one was called. But she was in one of those films. It was exciting. She came on and it was like, oh, this girl, whatever
Yeah.
her name is.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it was an issue with the acting at all. I think it was
I
an
liked
issue with the
her.
writing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually loved her. I was like, oh, she's dope, but
Yeah.
movie
Yeah.
sucks. Which sucks when it's like I that sucks when like the actors are really good and the movie is just not. I mean,
Yes.
she's playing alongside Samuel L. Jackson, which also sucks because he's phenomenal too. So it's like the duo is like nice, but
Yeah. It's funny, I've heard people say, I've heard maybe you've heard this too, that, any actor that is really good can really tell a story and make it good, you know? Like, I've heard people say that, but I really don't think that that's the case. I've also seen, plays. I remember being in grad school and, like, seeing the play that, um it was a Tennessee Williams Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and it was terrible. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen, and the acting was really good. Um, but the direction was very bad. It's a Tennessee Williams play, so I mean, I'm not going to speak so much on that, but I really don't think that that's the case. And I think this is just another example of that because I agree with you. I thought she was great in that role. Um, and the other actors too. I mean, you have Samuel Jackson.
yeah.
I think he was the only other really notable one, right? Or who's the
Yeah,
woman?
well, Jude Law.
What's that?
And Jude Law, don't forget.
And Jude Law. Oh my gosh, yes. Actually, yeah, a lot of notable people on this one. We won't forget Jude Law. Um, um, and the woman, I always forget her name, but anyway, the woman that she sees when she's like, when she's, I don't know if she's in her memory or whatever is happening there. Um, and she's trying to like come out of that. And
Oh, that
anyway,
woman,
she's the
yeah.
older woman,
I don't know
you
her
know,
name, but yeah.
but anyway. Um, so yeah, I definitely see it as there's a big issue with either it's to me it's either the writing or the directing or both. Um, and I just think because it was so dull from the beginning, that's definitely um an issue with the writing in my opinion. With this film. So yeah, bit of a struggle to get through, unfortunately.
I was looking back at our text earlier, and I wrote to you. I wrote to you. Oh, you wrote, I got through about an hour this afternoon of the film. Need to finish the rest. And I wrote back to you, this movie is crazy boring. Help.
Yes.
And then you said, I just finished recording a message. My last line was, I need to finish that damn movie. Totally thought it was me. And I wrote to you, I'm drinking a smoothie and all I want is wine to get me through it.
Yep.
I have other topics to chat about relating to films, because this movie, I just can't. And then you wrote, thank God, and you sent me a GIF.
Yep. I sent the gif of the person praying, right?
So,
Yeah.
but
I just well, and that was the other thing, right? As I was watching, because I knew we were gonna be talking about it, I thought I was actually nervous because I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna say about this. Like I hate, sitting there and just bad mouthing a project like that. But it
yeah,
was just I really didn't have anything to say about it. It was just there,
yeah,
as a movie. It wasn't really um it didn't do anything for me, certainly. So
yeah. No, I get it. We're not being negative Nancy's. We're just being honest in a nice way.
yeah.
Speaking of female directors, I Want to Dance with Somebody was directed by a woman.
Oh, was it?
Mm, oh my God, what's her name? I always say her name incorrectly, and I was gonna bring it up.
That was actually filmed around here, Boston area.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, well, at least part of it. Yeah.
Oh my God, what is her name? Cassie Lemons or Casey Lemons? I
Okay.
I was gonna go watch it last. Oh, I lost our Zoom. Where's our Zoom? We're gonna get kicked off, but we can hop back on. Um,
Okay.
I was gonna watch it last weekend, so I'm probably gonna try to catch it this weekend. But the time of the show was like too. It was like too late for me to watch it. Like my schedule was like off, so I couldn't watch it in the time that I wanted to watch it. So I ended up watching. I ended up seeing The Whale because it's still playing in theaters. Apparently, I didn't even
Mhm.
know that. And I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna like watch. I'm gonna go see this. Have you seen it,
No, and actually, as you're talking, I know you sent me a message about it a couple days was it last week? You saw
girl?
and I forgot
Girl.
to respond, but I have not seen it.
I mean, I know it's not written and directed by a woman. It's a play by whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, there are some female actresses in there that are top notch, but oh my god, I so for me, I have a hard time watching movies and TV shows because like when they're good, but like I get like bored very fast and very easily. Like I
Mhm.
told you, Squid Game. Since Squid Game, I have not seen a good as Squid Game. Not that they're bad. You know, I've seen White Lotus and House of Dragon, and it's great. But like Squid Game, since I've seen that, I have not seen anything.
You mean that in terms of, like, really grabbing your attention?
Yeah, and then The Whale, I saw it, and girl, every single second of that movie, like every second, every moment, like I was pulled in for
Mhm.
the entire, I don't know how long it was, like 2 hours maybe. Like I haven't felt that in a, well, I guess in a theater in a while. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I've seen Avatar, I've seen The Banshees of Inisherin, Minions. But like The Whale, like it was just I mean, first of all, I love Brendan Fraser. Like, when I was a kid, he was, like, my celebrity crush, and so sad to hear that he was, like, banned from Hollywood for a while. I can't even, like, get over that, but, like, um
Yeah.
but he was just so amazing. I just
Alright, you've convinced me to go see this.
and I'm not even, like, hyping it up, like, I mean, I knew, I heard about the hype around it, I heard about the awards, I heard about his standing ovation, I heard about all that stuff, um, but then when I watched it, I was like, "Oh, shit, these people were not kidding. This is a
Mhm.
great film and great story and great performances, like, all around."
Yeah. It does seem rare, now I've had this thought too, because growing up, that's what we did. We went to the movies all the time, right? Um, and up until, I don't know, last year, I went to the movies a few times last year, and prior to that, I hadn't been in maybe 5 years, like 4 or 5 years. Now I know we had COVID and everything, but
Right.
still, it was just not something. And even before grad school, because we would go when I was in grad school too, and before that, we didn't really go to the movies much. So, but as a kid, I remember, and like teenager, I remember going a lot and having that experience a lot where you were just completely absorbed into the film, right? You kind of forget where you are, that feeling of forgetting where you are and being so pulled into something. Um, and now, and I don't know, I mean, no doubt in my mind that part of it is the technology, right? And our attention spans and all of that. But, at the same time, I mean, here you are talking about, like, that's really encouraging to hear that you watched something that really has pulled you in, because I don't think I've had that experience in a long time. And I have seen films that, recently that I've liked, but to the point where you're so so invested in it and really pulled into that world. I've not had that in a long time. So now you've convinced me to go see this film
Definitely
because
see
I can tell you that Captain Marvel certainly did not do that for me. It was pretty much the exact opposite, like you said, being on TikTok or scrolling through. I had the same experience watching this.
Yeah,
So, um, yeah, you've
definitely
convinced
see it. I've been watching more movies in the theater since I've been back in Los Angeles because I think COVID really messed that up too. Like,
me. Yeah.
we all had that experience of getting used to certain habits, and one of those habits was like not going to the movies because you know. And then once things got back to normal, like I just ended up not going just because it wasn't in the forefront of my mind. But then like I ended up wanting when I moved here, I was like, all right, it's time for me to like do something. Let me just go to the theater. And that was around the time that Top Gun came out. And thank
Mhm.
goodness Top Gun was my first movie since COVID because that was like chef's kiss. Like it was just such a good experience.
Yeah.
Because that was a good movie theater experience, that movie. And then I saw a few others since then. But since then I saw a few others that I really liked. But I would say The Whale was like I think I was also blown away because I didn't know the story so much. Like usually when a movie comes out or even a TV show or anything like comes out, I try not to like hear too much about it. I want to like be as surprised as much as
Right.
possible. For example, The White Lotus, like people talk about it so much, but I'm like, don't tell me. I don't want to hear. I want to watch it and see for myself and like not know anything about it, and I ended up enjoying it. I loved it, and so yeah. So The Whale, I didn't like look it up. I didn't like look at the story. I just heard briefly like what it was about, and that was it. And when I saw it, I was blown away. So
Mhm.
go watch it.
Yeah, we should have done oops, sorry. We should have done our had we known we weren't gonna have
I
much to talk
know.
about with Captain Marvel.
I know. It was funny because
Um,
I was like, I'll talk about some other stuff, and hopefully this weekend I'll watch Whitney Houston's movie, and we could talk
yeah,
about that.
definitely. Well, I am glad that we talked about the experience of, trying to find movies, because I think that was, one of the biggest issues that we've run into anyway. I mean, and I think that we probably will continue to
Yeah.
with the podcast series, and it's important because that's what you want to focus on for this season, right? Is work that's, written and directed by women. So I'm glad we were able to at least talk about that, because that was one heck of an experience being on Zoom, and trying to find work to review. But um, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about Captain Marvel. It just was not, like I said, it didn't do anything for me. Um, the acting was good, but other than that, I can't really. And it's funny, I know we're gonna be cut off soon. That
Hop back on once we get cut off.
Okay,
Just don't forget what you're saying.
okay. I won't say it then. I'll wait.
Should we just hop off?
Special effects. Yes, yeah.
I just hop off and then hop back on.
Okay.
And we're back. Oh, you're still in space.
I'm still in. I know. I actually, when I was waiting, I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to put my background back on," but here I am. Sandra Bullock again.
Gravity.
Um, Good thing we, paused. I erupted into a coughing fit after that
Oh my god.
first recording, so
I
we'll see
I
how we do.
erupted into a full bladder. I got a pee fit.
Yeah, so that was good timing.
Have you seen, this is so random, but have you seen, I think it's Bill Burr's last stand-up. I don't know if it's his last stand-up or if it's just one of the latest specials on Netflix. But one of his last stand-ups was really funny because he talks a lot about like feminism and stuff. Not in a bad way, but like just making fun of it. And he was saying, and I'm probably gonna butcher this of what he said. So I apologize in advance for butchering it. But he does talk about female sports, like professional female sports and like
Mhm.
how a lot of like women either in sports or sports fans or like women who are feminist will always claim like men should care about this issue too, that like women in sports don't get as much I don't know what he said, like visibility or support as much as like men do in sports. And Bill Burr was just saying, he was just like, but it's not really for me to like care. Like women should be the one that should be supporting women's sports, but you ladies aren't watching sports. You're watching reality TV because that's what you like. And it was the funniest thing that I watched because I was like, he's absolutely right. Like I don't want to watch like women's sports. Like I want to watch like reality TV, like Housewives. I hate to say that.
Yeah.
Like, it was like extremely sexist, but also very true. Like, and this kind of goes back into like the conversation about like, I guess I hate to shit on Captain Marvel so much. I'm not shitting on it. I think it's just an easy example, but about like these, storytelling about female empowerment. It's like it's not a bad story to tell. It's just like when you're constantly seeing that, it's like we don't want to just see that all the time. Like women being shitty to each other or being crazy or just being like insane or just being super dramatic is really entertaining to watch. And I'm gonna watch that instead.
Right, right.
I am not
Yeah.
sexist, by the way. I'm just
Disclaimer, Keisha's
it's
not
funny because it's
sexist.
like when I say it out loud, I'm like, wow, I sound really sexist, but like I can't help it, like
No, it's true. It's
I
true.
can't help it.
I agree with that as well. I mean, especially, yeah, the women's sports things. Yeah, you can't. Um, you certainly can't blame men for that. And you can't blame male athletes for that either. But, you know, yeah, it's interesting because I feel like even when we were trying to find uh films and shows to watch, there was a lot, even on the list that we have, like, there are some that I'm really looking forward to watching, but, there were some that we came across that I was just like, "No, we're not gonna watch that. No, I'm not watching that." Like, it just was not interesting enough. It wasn't engaging enough to me, like, even just the description. So, um, and when you start seeing the same kinda themes over and over again, like, how much of that can you really see? And how much of it can you talk about? So, I don't know. I think what I was saying before, is with Captain Marvel is, I guess the other thing that you could say about it from a cinematic perspective is the special effects that were used in it. Really, like, I find that stuff really cool to see, from a production perspective, like how they do it and the things that they can do now in film. But, I'm also really turned off by films that use so much special effect.
Yeah.
Um, and in ways that, like this, crazy alternative universe kind of a thing. Because like I said before, it's just something that kind of pulls me out of it. But when it's being used for other things, and in different ways, I think that's really cool. Like I know we've talked about The Irishman before, right? Which, again, not directed by a woman, certainly, but how they were able to use like de-aging technology, right, for actors, I thought was really interesting. And so I'm fascinated by stuff like that. But so I guess you could say visually, the film, Captain Marvel looks really interesting, visually. But again, if there's no story there, really, it's really, nothing to write home about.
Yeah. I think it depends. Like, my opinion is like it's just a hit or miss. Like sometimes it works really well and sometimes it does take me out. Like when I saw Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, I thought it was gonna take me out, but I actually really liked it. I ended up really liking it. Something about it, it just didn't seem as distracting as I thought it would be.
Mm.
Um, but I understand what you mean. Sometimes it's like a little too much. I saw Avatar 2 weeks ago, and
I've
that
never seen Avatar.
oh, you should watch it for like, I mean, the story is not the greatest, but the movies are more geared towards the special effects. Like that's what you're watching it for. The
Mhm.
storyline is it's very flat. There's like almost no storyline at all. But you're watching it specifically just for the visual effects, and it really is a beautiful film. And I saw the movie 2 weeks ago, and like I think watching it in cinema is like um it's really gorgeous to watch because you can see like how creative they get with it. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, the story's kind of flat, so probably wouldn't. Anyways. um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I highly recommend watching The Whale because it's like you're watching like the performance and like the emotional through line and like all that good stuff, you know. Not to say that like
Yeah.
movies with special effects don't have that. Like Lord of the Rings was like special effects, but you get like so emotionally like drawn into it, you know. But
Right. Yeah, it's just when film, and it's the same in theater as well, right? Like, we actually worked with a theater director in grad school who, she used to say, when you have bad actors in your play, like if you have actors that are not good, not experienced, but there's nothing really you can do about it. She always used to say, use a lot of tech to make up for it. Use a lot of like, visuals, right? Um, and it's funny that always kind of stuck out stuck out in my head. But it's the same like in film. It's like when um and I'm not saying that with this film or with any other ones that really come to mind that they necessarily use all of that as a way to kind of overpower something else in the film. Uh, but sometimes I do think it's used uh, just for the sake of, the maybe story is just okay, so we'll just use a lot of real like cool special effects to kind of boost it. Um, and you know, I don't know, maybe it works for some people and it never really works for me because I really look for storyline above anything else.
Yeah.
Um,
You're you're
but
you're a theater director, so, you know,
well,
or director.
well,
Like,
and I'm
I don't wanna say just theater, but, like, primarily theater, and, like, you work so closely with actors and all that stuff, so, like, that makes sense as to why.
yeah, yeah, which
Mm,
is why it's hard. It's hard finding films and, I don't know, like, stories that just really say something and not are just, they're not just, message movies or anything like that, but, I love finding realism in stories and sort of whatever that is, whatever way that's told. So, it's not too I mean, I don't know if I told you this, I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I was going to grad school, I was trying to decide whether to go to study film or study theater, and I ended up at the theater school.
mhm,
But film is very much part of my background. It's like I love it, and I always have. So, I am fascinated in by how films are created, how these stories are told on screen and everything. And obviously, I've worked on film projects. I've worked with you, done some smaller stuff in grad school, but it was still like when you're trying to find stuff to watch that you really want, like you really want it to have an impact on you, it's really hard. I find it really, really difficult. So I don't know if it's just because I'm picky when it comes to that type of thing, but um, I have a list of movies that I love and ones that I will watch over and over again, but uh, you know, it's difficult. And so then when you're narrowing it down and you're trying to find ones that, you know, are are told stories that are told by women specifically, it's even harder because that's not something that's traditionally been done in film.
yeah. I also wonder I also wonder, like, sometimes I'm like, the target audience of, like, women in general, it's like, what do they want? Like, do they want Sex in the City type of, like, stories, or do they want, like, um what's that movie called? He Said, She Said movie about Harvey Weinstein, like, do they want that instead?
Mhm.
And it's like, there's just such a divide in, like, that target audience because I'm not on the he said, she said I forgot what the movie's called, but the Harvey Weinstein
Yeah.
movie. Like,
Yeah.
I am interested in the story, but it's like, it's so soon to tell that's well, I don't know if it's soon, but it's like, it's almost like they're pushing that narrative just because it's so relevant.
Right.
But also it just happened so recently, so it's like, why am I being told the story when it's already in, like, current events?
Yeah.
It just
That
gets
always bothers me too
so
about
that
films. And with film, it's done so often. I
yeah.
mean, I'm not gonna
They
say that
know they
it's
know that it's a market there's a market out there and they can sell it, like
yeah, but it's like that, I saw something recently. I don't know. I mean, the other example that comes to mind is the Mark Wahlberg film that was done about the Boston Marathon bombing, the Patriots Day, or whatever it was called. It was just
I didn't see it.
I didn't either. I had no reason to watch it because I lived through it, right? And the
Yeah,
same with the
yeah.
Harvey Weinstein thing. It's like because it was so recent. I mean, you're right. I agree with you. Like that happens over and over and over again. And yeah, to me, it's unnecessary. I hate to say that, especially with that type of thing, because I mean that might upset people, but because it's giving people a chance to tell their stories and all of that. But it's like I don't know. That's not the only narrative that we can tell. I think you do bring up an interesting point, though. Is like what do people want to see? And I'm not going to say just women audiences because you want women to tell the story, but you want the audiences to be everybody and anybody, right? So it's like, what type of stories do they want to see? Um, I mean, I kind of felt this way though when, years ago when the whole race issue is being brought in, minority issue is being brought into Hollywood because, there were people that, at the time, I remember it was like, a lot of people saying, "Well, it's not that, you know, these like there's not enough stories about, say, black women or Asians or, whatever. It's just that, or no, no, what were people were saying it's not that they're not being cast, it's just that there's not enough stories, for people like that. There's not enough stories about those people, right?" And, I remember thinking at the time, and I still feel this to this day, it's like, I see all these films that if you replaced it with a person of color, really wouldn't make much difference, right? There's no reason that they can't tell that same story, right? Um, and it's the same when you're talking about, like, who's directing the story, um, who's, on the other side of that, the production side, because really, we can tell a lot of the same stories that male directors can tell. Um, so I don't know. Um, I don't really know where I was going with that. It just kinda came
I
into my head,
I understand what you're saying because I want to add to your point because I have the same thought process as you. It's like whenever you do see excuse me, my throat. Oh my god, the wine. When you do see a film or a show or any story with a minority cast in it, usually it's always tied with their background somehow. And
Mhm.
it's like that's again, like you do need to show stories like that sometimes, but not all the
Right,
time. It's like
right.
why do we need to show that these people have immigrant parents? Why do we always need to show that this person is dealing with racism? Why do we like it's like all the time? Like
Mhm.
no, like there are times where like as a brown woman, I encounter like heartbreak like everybody else. But it's like we're always seeing like and again I always tie back to like Mindy Kaling because I feel like as you can tell I like her a lot. Um, she I think the reason why I loved my water, my throat's getting dry. The reason
Do
why
we
I
have
love
the same water bottle? Do
I
you
can't
have the
see
Oh,
a water bottle.
this darn galaxy.
Like,
Yeah.
I think we
It's
do.
the
Yeah,
Brita
it's
one?
Brita. Yes, the Brita one. Oh, my
Yeah.
favorite. Mine
Oh,
is
look
pink.
at
I
that.
can't tell.
Shout
What's
out,
your
I love these.
black? Is it brown? Blue?
Yeah.
Um,
Mine's blue, yeah. That's
okay.
why you can't
Oh,
see
that's
it.
why.
Mine's
Yeah,
in the
that's why it's
background.
confusing. The reason why I loved her character in The Office is because like she wasn't. They weren't portraying her as like the Indian woman, even though they made jokes about her and like they made jokes about her eating beef and like celebrating Diwali, but then she would always be like, I don't really know what Diwali is, so whatever. Or like I eat, like she just was defying it. And like her character was basically this woman who was obsessed with celebrity culture and had a toxic relationship with her coworker. That's all
Right.
it was. She was an idiot. Like, but it wasn't like she was this token like brown girl where everything about her was Indian and everything about her was that she was brown and everything about her, it's like and I feel
Right.
like they played with that here and there quite often and it was funny that her character deflected all of that, like whatever. Um, but like sometimes when I see shows or movies where it's like it's just about that, I get bored easily because I'm like I I lived through that. It's I don't why do I need to see it over and 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 over again, and
Yeah,
it gets
right. I know we've talked about Bridgerton before, right, as an example
oh yeah,
too.
yeah.
We talked about that last when we were trying to record do our recordings before. They, at least the first season, I haven't seen the second season to be honest, but, at least in the first season, well, the actor, black actor that's in it is not in the second season, but, it's the whole issue around race and racism within that family is really touched upon, but it's so subtle and it
So
doesn't
thoughtful.
overpower the whole show, right?
Yep,
And I think that was done so well, and that's what I really loved
yeah.
about that story.
I'm not a fan
Um,
of Bridgerton, but I do like what they were I do like what they achieved.
yeah.
like, they did show diversity, not just with skin color, but even, like, body types and, like, people's looks, like, it's like
Absolutely.
and they did that so subtly and, like, again, that show's not really, like, something I would watch, it's not like I'm not the audience for that, so I don't really like it as much, but I liked what they were doing, I'm like, That's what I wanna see. And, like,
Mhm.
that's exactly what you're talking about is, like, you can switch up these roles and, like, it could change slightly based on the person's, like, skin color, body type, whatever, but, like, in a very subtle way. It doesn't need to be so out there and so
Right.
explicit all the time.
Right. And the same way that, movies that are directed by women don't need to be about being women, or the injustices that women face, or like you said, being assaulted, or, anything like that. It's just, yeah, it's getting to the point where, it's not that those stories shouldn't be told, but when that's the only thing that's being told, it's exhausting, you know?
It is. Um, I had a thought to that. I completely forgot what it was. Oh, what really bothered me when Hollywood tried to do remakes with all female casts, like
Mhm.
Ghostbusters and Ocean's 11. I was like, "This is not it. That's not no." I watched those films and they were so horrible.
I couldn't even watch them, and I know we've talked about this before
I
too,
didn't
right?
finish either one of them.
It is so cheap, and
Yeah,
it is not at all addressing the issue correctly, you know? So, okay, you wanna see more women in film, that doesn't mean you just take a movie that's already been done and just
yeah.
make an entirely female cast. Yeah, there's something about that that's just so ick to me.
I think
And
that's
and
why
I couldn't even watch them. There
yeah,
is though, it's like, okay, so now we have all these women. Why not take that and make a new story and make something different, right?
yeah.
It's like, oh, you just must follow what the men do in his
Men
film, and
too.
it's like,
There needs to be a
yeah,
female James Bond. It's like, "No, can you just recreate a new character?"
right,
Like,
exactly.
um,
I
like
have that issue with remakes in general, though, and I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I don't necessarily have an issue with remakes. I have a problem with the way that Hollywood does them because it's just the same. Like, I mean, how many, we talk about like these, superhero movies. Like, how many Spider-Man movies have there been in the last like 30 years? It's like, it's crazy, right? You don't need that. And just the amount of stories that have been told over and over and over again, all the remakes, I'm like, I don't get it. And it really bothers me because there's so much, and even people like yourself, Keisha, like you've written, projects before, you've written series before, and it's like there's so many people out there that are writing these great stories that are never going to get to be told because they're just remaking the same thing. And so, oh, what spin can we take? We'll just remake it with women, or whatever.
yeah.
I mean, how awful would that, like, that would be like taking Ghostbusters and then remaking it with like an entirely Asian cast or something. It's like, I don't know. And if anything, I find that more like offensive than it's probably meant to be, right?
I always think about,
Um,
like, the best example I think about is, Bridesmaids,
yeah.
because people always refer to it as the female version of The Hangover,
Mm,
right? Which is what makes it so good because it's like, you can't make a remake of The Hangover with women, but you can make
right.
a comedy that's similar to that, what bonds women together, and they go through all
Absolutely.
sorts of craziness is like Bridesmaids. Like, even as you said, if they were to remake Ghostbusters with an all Asian cast, it's like, well, it doesn't have to be a remake of Ghostbusters, but it could be something like Ghostbusters that fits like an Asian group or whatever. It's like that makes more sense because you can tie in all these cultural things. The same thing with Bridesmaids. It's like they were able to tie in so many jokes about what women go through with weddings and being
Right.
bridesmaids and like all these different things, and like it made so much sense because like how many things happened in that movie that was so relatable?
Right.
you
That
know?
movie is great. Oh my
It's so
gosh, that's such a
good.
great film.
Like losing a
So funny.
business, like, not having enough money for a wedding, your friend chooses, like, another friend as her maid of honor, you having, like, a fuck buddy who doesn't even like you, you know, and, like, another guy really likes you, but you're like, I don't deserve this kind of love," like, all of these relatable things, and,
Mhm.
like, that's what makes it so good.
Right. Right.
I when I watched the Ghostbusters movie with, like, the all-female cast, I'm like, "I don't understand what I'm looking at here."
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know,
I don't understand what I just put myself through.
yeah, which I never finished it, by the way, because I couldn't make it through. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Another one that we couldn't make it through.
yeah.
I know. I know. It just makes you wonder. It's just I don't know. It's just it's so infuriating to me because there are like I said, there are just so many people that are writing and creating new work and trying to get their shows produced, trying to get, their movies produced, and it's just it's it's not going to go anywhere for some of them, right? Um I just don't get it. But again, it's yeah, the same it's I think the same issues that are happening with you know, women in the industry very similar I think in a lot of ways to what was happening years ago with the minority issue. So, you know, not to say I have, I or we have all the answers to how to solve that, but I just know that what they're doing is not working. So,
And this is why sometimes I resort to reality TV.
mhm.
I get so fed up that I'm like, I'm just gonna watch a bunch of people yell at each other and fine and call it a day. I know it's like
The
horrible.
guilty pleasure.
I hate reality TV so much, but I think what I love about reality TV, I find it so interesting. The thought of knowing how much footage they have
Yes.
and knowing how much they edit to curate this wild story that probably didn't even exist in the first place.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that gets me every single time. Like, sometimes I watch, like, I think the only thing I really made it through was, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Oh my god, what else did I watch recently? Something about people getting married. Um, it's on Netflix. Why can't I think of it?
Is that the Love Is Blind?
Love is Blind, yeah. I was gonna say Love
Yeah.
is Blind is Love, and I'm like, that's not it. That one, and I recently been watching Too Hot to Handle, which by the
Mhm.
way, when I watch it very choppy. Like I don't watch it all the way through because I can't. Sometimes my brain can't like handle it. But like it is interesting to watch, knowing like I'm like, did any of these things happen the way that it actually happened, or are they just creating like this whole other story just to create drama? And it's totally
Right.
creating drama, and it's just fascinating to watch it. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
this I can settle with this sometimes because I can't handle watching film and TV
The
sometimes.
films that are yeah, actually being produced. I know. I know. I totally agree with you.
Sometimes I gotta shut my brain off and just call it a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Just to let you know my battery saver's on. 'Cause
Oh,
my
okay. Well,
sorry.
we
Sorry to be
recorded
like,
quite a bit, so we can savor this for the next time. I don't even know what's on our list to watch next time.
"Oh, I got it right here. Hang on." We have, oh, no, we haven't decided. We have a list. Where the Crawdads Sing was gonna be that's what
Oh
we have
yeah,
here. The Sex Lives of College Girls, The Power of the Dog,
yeah,
Little Women, the Netflix series, not the movie.
yeah.
This guy's everywhere. There you are.
Okay.
So, do we wanna
Love how
figure out what we're
episode
gonna
one
do next?
is the difficulty of planning podcast season. Episode one is what we listed here.
Yes, which is mostly what we talked about, which is good.
um,
Um,
I'm gonna go see the Whitney Houston movie.
okay.
Um, I want to dance with, and I'll report back to you. If you happen to see it too, that'd be awesome. But if not,
Okay.
And then maybe Where the Crawdads Sing, either Where the Crawdads Sing or Sex Lives of College. Oh no, you wanted to see Power of the Dog.
That one I really wanna see, it looked really interesting.
Okay, let's do Power
Yeah, can we do that one next?
of and let's do Sex Lives of College Girls. At least like we don't have to watch the whole series, just a few
Okay.
episodes. Um,
Alright, so just tell me how much you wanna watch of the series then.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for doing this with me. This was fun to just chat
Yeah.
movies all around.
Do we need to record, like, an exit?
We did not record an intro, so
We did not. We can do
yeah,
that now.
we did not record. Okay, yeah, let's